Hi, everyone, and welcome to Culture of Paint. In this episode, I'm going to be chatting with Andy about his recent gold-winning diorama from Golden Demon Spiel over in Germany from last weekend. Now, you may have seen a bunch of stuff on our YouTube channel about it and over on Patreon where Andy's been documenting the project, but there was so many questions to do with it all, we thought we'd just jump on, do an extra culture episode and have a good chat about it. Now, Culture of Paint's aimed at a mature audience, so though unlikely, we may use explicit language or discuss adult themes. So let's talk about paint. Right, and we're back in. So, morning, everyone, or afternoon, or wherever you are in the world. I'm Henry, and joining me, as I've just said in the intro, is Andy. How you doing, bud? You recovered? Hello. I mean, it's not that much to recover from, is it, Germany? It's not too bad.
I haven't painted, but I've been catching up on editing videos. I think I've edited a video every day, which is so I got another one today about the paints, just about the paint. So that's cool. And then I'll get back to hobbying next week, which is cool. But I have been tinkering, have been letting ideas percolate. So
excellent, lovely.
There's putty.
I want to have a talk about putty. I think we might do that for the next culture episode. Everyone's been posting up their whips and greens, as it were, from their GD entries.
Yellows these days, mate.
Yeah, they are, right. So that was why I was thinking it might be fun to have a talk about it, because people love getting crunchy and nerdy about everything. So we might talk about putty and all that. I know you've switched and almost exclusively, is it Tamiya now you're working with for most of it?
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Oh. Yeah.
So I think definitely worth a chat. So guys, if you're wondering why I'm looking off the camera all the time, it's because we've got the Twitch chat watching us live. So if you ever want to catch the culture episodes live, make sure to jump over to Twitch and subscribe over there. Also remember, if you're a Amazon Prime subscriber, you can get a free monthly Twitch sub as well. You just need to activate that each month. It doesn't roll over. But if you're not, you're going to be watching us over on the Culture of Paint YouTube channel, where the edited versions of all the streams go out, as well as other things we have planned to do around the painting versus our tutorials that we do over on Patreon and the normal channel. So shall we jump? Is it more of a marigold or a gherkin style of yellow? It's more mustard yellow, but it's paler than all of that. It's a revolting colour, really, the modelling putty. Which reminds me of, like, I don't know why, but it reminds me of, like, you know the dentist and you see the teeth skeletons and teeth like that. Always reminds me of that type of thing. Okay, so I've got on the phone here loads of questions that people sent Andy to do with it. Those of you that aren't sure what we're going to be talking about, jump on and listen to the last episode where we covered GD and we touched on Andy's entries there. Let's bring them up on screen and have a better perusal now. So Fuegan, I'm not going to talk about Fuegan today, but I love him, so I just wanted to show him again. featuring a ton of mini color paints, which is exciting. Whilst they are incredibly great colors, they're perhaps not quite as saturated as this photo makes them out to be, but they are still pretty damn close.
Yeah.
So it's not quite like bubblegum colors. But no, the one we want to talk about today is this Gone with the Wind, the gold-winning diorama Spiel 2025. Hooray! If I remember to, I might even put in some applause over the top of that. The light yellow stuff reminds you of taffy sweets. Taffy is excellent. You can also get that at American farm supply shops. So yeah, this one took you a while.
Yeah, too long.
But paid off, right? You got the results from it. So I'm not going to read the questions in any particular order, and if I do repeat some, I apologise. And I will try and probably not read out ones such as, can I have Selenar's ear bits if you aren't using the head?
Well, I can answer that. No, the head wasn't in that photo that you're referring to, but it doesn't mean I'm not using it, I'm afraid.
There you go.
The head's the best bit.
Well, here's a nice generic GD one that I think we can touch on very quickly, not specifically to do with this piece, and I think we've talked about it often on GD episodes. Do you? I'm not going to read out people's names because half of them I can't. So, do you think Golden Demon will ever reward different painting styles other than perfectly smooth?
Yes, Slayer Sword 6 months ago.
From Adepticon, yeah, absolutely. So if you go back and have a look at Borjar's Stormcast on Griffin, that's a long way from smooth style, isn't it?
And Maxime Pinot's Troll in 2019.
Absolutely. Although I do think it's a fair comment to say that a lot of the top 3 pieces from this year did seem pretty damn smooth.
I think I think what they're actually looking for is care in every part, because I know a lot of people are, oh, I don't know why this one didn't place, and some of them are amazing and it's not the style, but you do have to put care into every section. um and I think that's what they're looking for, really. So
Mm.
you have to paint everything. So yeah, I definitely think different styles can win. But like Rich Gray's, for example, his is like illustration style, and it's not like edge highlighty or whatever, but he has put detail into every part, the same amount of care. So, and that was the same with Maxime's, and the same with Borjas. So yeah, I think different styles can win, but I think the sort of people that paint neat and clean are probably the same people that really work on every part.
I
Like,
I think that's it. I think that's exactly it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you look at someone like, say, R now,
Mhm.
one of our favorite painters. You know, he it's quite expressive, isn't it? The work he does. It's incredible and it's still refined, but he's able to produce a piece of outstanding quality within a week, right? And it's quite unusual, isn't it, that whenever you talk to GD winners, it's often, oh, I've spent 6 months on this or a year on this.
And I think that Arnau can win anytime he wants, but
Mm,
even if he's fast, he still has to spend more time to get a win.
mm,
And I think about, the Dante diorama. Maybe if that diorama was like a bit bigger. I mean, I thought it was perfect. I loved it, but I'm
yeah.
just talking about maybe what would take him from not winning to winning. Maybe if it was like bigger, so there's more Tyranids, more impressive, and just little. It doesn't, a little bit more work maybe, and he, can win easily. I think you have there's just a combination of stuff, right? You have to do a significant piece. It feels like at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, of course, he can win. It's just I think he's too relaxed. I don't think he's that bothered. But
You say about the big thing. I thought Rich Gray's Corn Deathbringer piece was a good example, though, of that sort of out the box, relatively simple staging, um, yet still, and a less super smooth style. I think it's still showing, isn't it, that it's doable. But I do know what you mean about that significant idea.
I think it's important that he won, because otherwise the message is you have to do a massive base and loads of
Mm.
converting, because Alberts and Urkers were
I
borderline
love Urkel.
dioramas.
I really wanted to talk about Urkel's stuff, actually. Maybe we'll talk about that one another. I really, really enjoyed their couple of pieces.
But they're
That
bigger than
post.
both of them are bigger than my
Yeah,
diorama.
yeah, yeah.
So
Well, there was interesting chat. I can't think it was, maybe it was on the Discord. I can't think where was having it, where um, someone was saying that they felt, or perhaps it was the comments actually on our last Twitch, that was Albert's a diorama. Like where was the line? And I think there's always going to be a slight blur, isn't there, and interpretation, because you think back to Neil's Dark Angel a few years ago that was moved because the base was deemed too large. They moved it to diorama, didn't they? Or is it diorama they moved it to?
yeah,
That
they
Dark
did.
Angel, yeah. So I think it's it's always going to be slightly blurred and grey edges to things like that. But I think as a size of piece, I feel like Albert's is at least the size of yours, if not bigger. Mm.
I think we've got the same footprint. I think his is 60 mil, which is what
Mm,
mine is, but
mm,
his total height is bigger with the bookcase and
mm.
stuff. So
I just think it's interesting. You've got that piece that's winning single that is at the biggest end of what you're getting away with a single, and then you've chosen to deliberately try and create the tightest, most sort of bijou diorama possible.
yes,
At the other end
it
of it.
was probably the smallest
Mm,
diorama in the whole category.
mm, mm,
Um, but it's about, I think the single thing is tough, and I think Albert could have entered it in the diorama category as well, but obviously single is his thing, and I definitely think, of course, it is a single mini, um, but it's just on the edge, and it's a feels thing, and it's like, it is a single. It's one miniature with a base around it, and you think, oh, if the bookcase wasn't there, then is it just a straight up single?
Mm.
And then you're like, yeah, but Urka's had a tree, and that's higher than the bookcase. So you just get into this silly thing, and yeah, I think because the base wasn't too big, circumference, wasn't too
Hmm. Hmm.
too enormous, I think it's absolutely fine.
No, that's
Um, so yeah, it's worth a discussion, and definitely like Neil's probably took it too far because it was like this high, like a
mm,
church.
mm.
Yeah, they either go really strict with the rules or they leave it like this. So, it's better as it is because then we can do these cool things, right? I don't like it when it's too strict because they could go, it's a gaming base only 40
Yeah,
millimeters, and then we all lose because we
yeah.
don't see cool projects. So,
It's interesting, isn't it? How even just the last couple of years now, you're very rarely seeing a piece on a base.
why I
It
don't know
felt
why
like
you do that.
well, but even not that long ago, you'd see pieces displayed on their bases. And then I know, remember a few years, it was more than a few years back now, you did that Blood Angels unit, didn't you? That was not on their bases at all. Was very similar to a diorama in a sense. Um,
Diorama, yeah.
and then it sort of that sort of accelerated that process. I remember you'd see unit, and very often it was black plinth. I'm trying to think, was it Martin's maybe or Sten's? Someone did like a classic piece like that, on the
It
base
was
with
all
black
three
plinth.
of us.
Right, and it was just I feel like it didn't take long for the whole stack of cards to fall with that. Like as soon as a couple of people were doing it, it was like, right, great,
Well, I
base
think, and
out the
someone
window.
can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I did the first one because the rules changed that year, 2019, and I saw the rule change, and I wanted to do it to say, hey, you can do units not on gaming basis now, and I think it's become the meta ever since. But I'm quite sure that was the first year and stuff because
Mm.
other competitors were trying to get me moved. So
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, just because of time and stuff, I'm going to try and pick the questions from now on that are specific to your piece, and then see how we feel at the end of it. If we've still got time and still got the energy, we'll touch on the broader
I'll do some quicker as well.
Golden Demon questions as well.
Yeah.
So we've done the putty. Do you feel you gave yourself the time you wanted or needed to finish the diorama this time? Because it's something you've spoken about often in previous GD videos.
Yes and no. I didn't need a week more. If I needed more time, I needed a month off. So what I needed was like considerable time away from it to come back and refine it more. Um, like the back of the rocks, the trees. The original plan was to have all the earth grass as well, but I didn't have time to experiment with static grass. And I quite like the look of the earth in the end anyway.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I don't think I could have painted the girl better unless I started again. And the same with the elf, the owl. Yeah, I probably topped out on most things, but I could have um done a bit more work on the base and stuff like that. But I think ultimately I took it as far as it could. But I've definitely learnt my limits on this piece.
You
Which
mentioned that before, yeah.
Yeah, so I need to work on my sharpness and stuff. Like the freehand definitely could have been tighter. I didn't rush the freehand, but I definitely like rattled through it and should have maybe tweaked it and stuff like that. But yeah, more or less the right amount of time. But I think what I'd like on the next piece is to not do it all in one go. And that's what I need time for. So this piece, I had enough time to paint it, but I did it every day for 8 weeks. What I'd like to do is say I need 2 months of painting to do that over 4 months or something.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have time to have a week off and do something quick for YouTube and then come back fresh. And that's what I need for the next projects. Um, so yeah, I need more breathing room. And I think it's being disciplined in not entering many figures as well. So for Adepticon, I'm considering doing 2 models, but I think I should probably just do 1. And there's what, 5 months till Adepticon, so I've got
Mm.
five months, and I'm really considering just doing one figure. Um, and then actually the other figures I've got planned to save for Spiel in a year's time, and I think that's probably the right thing to do. But I have 3 projects that I'm quite sure I want to do, and it's just, doing one for Adepticon, 2 for then, or something like that. But we just have to see. But yeah, I definitely want to chill out and take time off, and we'll see how that goes. So.
Nice. Well, yeah, looking forward to what you decide on that one. Just going to take a couple of questions from the Twitch chat actually as well. I've just noticed they're coming in. So Oni Warden's asked, when you do your NMM or highlights, do you paint a specific armor panel to completion first, or do you do a layer all over the model, then the next layer, and then the next layer?
On this one, I worked top down, so I did the helmet, and then I did all the gold on that, and then I did the chest because it was nice to work down, so I didn't rub off the paint. Um, you get much better at it because I changed the paints I was using for this gold, and it's my video for Patreon next week. Actually, is just talking a lot about gold, and I got better at it as time went on, which is important. So I think actually painting something insignificant first can be useful. But yeah, you just get better at it as you get used to it. Same with the blue. I did the blue on the head first, and I got so much better at using the blues because if you use different paints, you have to learn how they work and stuff like that.
Mm.
But no, I think with something like non-metallic only works when you get to those last couple steps, and I think you have to understand how it works and then roll it out after that. So I would say do bit at a time is the way to go.
Nice.
But some steps you could do all in one, like base coat everything, do one highlight and everything. But when it gets into the real minutia, I think go a little bit at a time. Plus,
Fair.
your paint dries out.
Was that the mini color blues on there?
Yeah, there's not loads of mini color on this. There's the green on the leaves, which was crucial, because I tried some other greens and they were too cold. And this is gherkin with some lemon yellow in, and it gave the warm green I wanted. So that was really cool. The blues are the brown for the non-metallics. I use chocolate, which is really key because it's Rhinox hide is too grey and doesn't go dark enough for gold, but the chocolate you can get really dark shadows for non-metallics. What else? The magenta in the smoke. I was using another magenta, and it was too matte and dry, and I painted over the top of it with mini color, and it just came alive. And then the owl actually, all the oranges and the browns.
Nice.
But then I did the little highlights with AK warm grey over the top. So yeah, a mix. And I think the rocks are probably the most real estate, and that had, I think, those 3 brands. So it was like Scale 75, Burnt Umber, AK Warm Grey, and then a bit of Gherkin in there for tone. So yeah, that's what I want to get across really with the mini color marketing, is that we'll just use the best paints for the job, right? And every paint job I do will be a mix of different brands for their the things that they're good at. So I think that's what's important. But for doing smooth stuff like cloth, then the mini color is just the best, really.
Lovely. And if anyone's wondering what we're talking about with mini color, we've got a paint range we created with Artis Opus, which, depending on when you're watching this, you'll be able to pick up the sort of early edition, Founders Edition, or if you're watching it later, just follow the link and you'll be able to go in the shops and buy it. But it's lovely to see the different colours. So I've seen the reds and the oranges quite often, but it's been nice to see some of the others featured on your stuff. Well, I suppose actually the purples, but that's so long ago now. You don't want to think about it. Lord of Things has asked a question similar one to someone else had asked you to do with, do you have a favourite part, or perhaps an underrated detail on this piece?
Favorite part, the rock.
Yeah, I thought, I said to you, I thought the base was really excellent. Like
I
gone,
always used
gone
I
up
used to
up a gear.
struggle with rock a lot, and I've still got to improve on it, but it's starting to click with me. In the last two pieces, I've been really happy with the rocks, whereas in the past I've been really unhappy with them. But the stone bridge for the horse, I'm really happy with that, and I did it different for this one. But I really like how it looks in terms of detail, light, and the color. I've got the right amount of green in there and stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, that as a boring thing. Um, what else do I like? I think the little purple gems were cool, like the one on the shoulder, all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
DMO Paint. I don't know if he's throwing shade here or not. Is it possible to get any sort of recognition for entries that don't use NMM at the GD sort of level? I presume that wouldn't apply at the MPO level. So I don't know whether you're suggesting that a MPO level is a lower level than GD or not. But given the judging teams you've got, I don't. I would probably argue the opposite. But yeah, I think few people have answered actually. There's true metallic metals do feature certainly in them.
I remember I got the Slayer sword with my TMM.
Yeah, and Taro's been taking out the small scale categories with TMM for quite a while.
I'm thinking about doing a piece with true metallics. Um, I'm thinking like this piece is all matte with all the cloth and stuff, and I wonder if it would be a nice contrast to have like the trim of the Lumineth with true metallics.
Mm.
I'm so torn, but the control you get when you do NMM is just you just can't get it with true metallics.
Mm.
It's a real tough one, but you can absolutely win with them. I think the thing that people maybe don't get is that you don't need NMM to win from the judge's perspective, but the sort of people that are likely to
Yeah.
win will never choose it. So Albert will never paint TMM,
Mm.
and he will win basically no matter what he enters. I think that's kind of how it is. Maxime Pinot, he was second to the Slayer sword. They were tossing it up between him and Albert in 2023, and his was TMM.
Mm.
And they were really like tossing up between them. And I would have found it hard to call. And his was TMM. So
Mm.
it's the level that you're doing it at.
Well, I mean, level's a great one. So DMO Paint has answered. I hope it's a different level to GD, or as I may as well not enter. Essentially, if you haven't already, go maybe pop back and watch a couple of ones we've done on open style judging competitions and just traditional podium competitions as well. One of the biggest reasons we've chosen to do it as an open competition is to ensure that any piece that we feel deserves an award gets an award. It's not meant to be like a generous, Oprah car for everybody type thing. But we discussed this ad infinitum on past ones to do with those different styles of show. But please don't feel put off to enter any painting competition. Get going, get in there, and talk about it, and learn, and get nerdy about it. Oh, Dave, it's you. Good lad. I keep forgetting. You're fine. You're a ledge. Matt Siddy's Crute had TMM. Oh yeah, cool. So plenty of TMM. Sorry, Dave, I forgot that was you. Drove a squad of wolves TMM. Yeah, tons of TMM in there. There was one question on there.
All
Sorry,
the NMM haters out there.
I missed it. Someone said it. Is it? Are we planning to do? Someone asked a question about an NMM tutorial. Can't remember where exactly it's gone, but someone was saying, if we're taking mini color questions, are we planning to do an NMM Gold tutorial doing mini color? I think you're going to talk about it a lot, but we're also planning sets like people have asked a little bit about, because we've called this the core set. Is that it? And I think in a nutshell, we're calling this initial release the core set because we believe it's a set of paints that if you buy it, you'll use most of them regardless of what and how you paint. Our plan going forwards is to release sets that, whilst they're not specialist in the sense of you need a special degree of skills to use them, it's just we're going to release sets that perhaps aren't so widely usable by everybody. So we will be releasing metallics, but we will also, given obviously Andy's caliber of painting when it comes to NMM, there will absolutely be NMM sets. you know, curated purely by Andy and what, you know, what he wants from them, because for some people that's incredibly important and useful. But when we were looking at trimming, you know, trimming that core set down, it was things like that that perhaps we felt were better better suited elsewhere. So
There'll be
yeah.
three sets for non-metallics. So there'll be a gold, a silver, and an other
Yeah.
set. So yeah, there'll be 18 paints. And at the moment, I'll mix 3 different paints together for gold. And so there's tones I know I want and that I will get made, which will make non-metallics way easier. And we're also doing a collab with another artist for non-metallics.
For non-metallics,
so,
yeah. And the same for the metallic sets there. I think it will reflect that, no pun intended, quite similarly. I think the intentions is we've got 18 currently for metallics. So yeah, there'll be plenty more to go, and they'll all be straight to retail. So you guys will be able to order them as and when those come out. So that owl on there, what was the process for painting that? Did you get any reference material to go on? That's a good one. There's another question about reference material. So why don't we talk about that for a bit?
On my other desk, I've got a feather, an actual feather. Yeah, I was going to send you the reference actually when I sent you those pictures, but I didn't. But yeah, I looked at loads of owls, and I struggled to make the reference work in the scale because it's such a small owl that it was difficult, because you look at a reference and you go, oh, well, it's got this bit and this bit. And it was just so hard to do. And I tried simplifying it, and that didn't work either. And in the end, I decided to not worry about how neat and tidy it was and just get the impression. So, you know, I did lots of tiny lines and they weren't all perfectly lined up. Some of them are a bit messy, but it felt like it had the texture and the scaling.
I really like painting like that. Sorry to
Yeah.
jump in, but it's so much fun. That sort of suggestive thing. I don't know what a better way to describe it.
Well, I know I'm like reasonably neat, but I'm not the neatest. Say if you look at the winners, there's much neater painters than me. I'm a bit in between two camps, I think, but I'd rather get the feeling than the precision, because I did one before which was really precise and it wasn't right.
I've, as you know, as a mate and as a fan of your work, I have really enjoyed seeing that journey. Not to sound all wanky with it, but that sort of journey that you've gone on, and I'm really enjoying your last few pieces. I've said to you that the particularly the sort of the 3 more peaceful scenes, the deer and the Marshall and this one, I keep saying to you, I feel like it's getting more and more almost Golden Demon friendly, or Games Workshop friendly, in the sense of I feel like you've taken an awful lot of the stuff you've been doing on the larger scale pieces, the idea where you're leaving certain areas less refined deliberately, and again, you sort of vibe painting almost in elements. And I love that it feels like you're tightening certain things up and defining things a little bit more clearly in different parts. And I think the overall result is brilliant. And I hope, you know, this reward show, because it is that marrying of those two styles. And I don't think what it's done has diluted either of them. I think what you've ended up with is something that's greater than a sum of its parts in the overall look. And it just feels very easy to look at, which I think for viewing minis is a challenge. You know, there's you know what it's like. There's so many minis that you'll see in the flesh that perhaps photos didn't do it justice, or vice versa. So I think the easier you can make it for someone to look at the mini and enjoy it is that there's a real skill in it. And I think that applies to everything from really brilliant tabletop sort of army painting, right the way through. And it's just, yeah, it's been a lot of fun to see it. So I hope you continue on with that style. So yeah, other inspiration bits. Was there any particular paintings or stories or movies? Always love a bit of Zelda and a bit of Studio Ghibli, all of that.
It's just Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. You start off the game in the clouds, and all of it's really yellow, all these like trees, and it just looks amazing because you're so high up. There's like sunset on stuff and the trees, and it's one of the coolest environments. And I would just walk around that, all the grass and stuff. Yeah, it's just that really. I would never do a Zelda piece. Don't know why. Don't want to paint it, but the environment and the mood is just the best. So, best video game music ever made.
It's good painting music, actually. I don't play the games, but I have that on as background music.
It's very brave to do like space in the music because it's just like silent, a couple noises. It's mega cool. And Castle in the Sky, which is a Ghibli.
Nice. Someone's asked about plinths. If you go and check Andy's various project logs over on Patreon, you'll see Andy often covers making the bases and sort of working with the plinths and whatnot. And actually, someone else had a good question.
I think someone asked how you cut
plinths.
into it, but you use a
Pardon me.
cutter.
Yeah, Dremel tools and things like that, right?
Well, I'd specifically recommend something called a die grinder because a Dremel isn't actually strong enough, but a die grinder they're not expensive. They're probably cheaper than a Dremel, and they are absurdly powerful. And it cuts through the plinths like butter. Sometimes too good, and I go too deep. But it makes tons of mess. You have to do it outside. I put a raincoat on, my motocross goggles, and then I go outside like because it goes everywhere. And I even get the Hoover as well under my armpit like this.
Nice. I remember when I used to work with resin a lot more often. It was the old Hoover wedged between your legs as you were working to try and do that. Yeah, Martin's asked. If you understand this, I don't quite understand it. Why do you make a lower foreground in the front with most artworks? Oh, okay. So, like, why do you put a rake on the presentation? I guess.
Yeah, just an aesthetic thing. Is to suggest that there's more going on. I think dead flat, I just don't like. You can do it dead flat and then build out from it to do the same thing, but it's purely to break the line in the front. So if you look dead on at a plinth and it's a line, I don't think it's aesthetic as having a break on it. So it's just a preference that I enjoy looking at it more. And Albert's doesn't do that, and it obviously looks amazing. But even on Fuegan, there's a tiny little cut, and it's to suggest that this is a hill and it carries on going that way. It's not on a flat surface. But yeah, it's just a personal thing that I like. I think it looks better. That's it. Just my preference.
Okay, very good. I'll take a couple more from the Twitch chat here because they correspond to a few that have been asked on the other one. So how deep do you go with the lore and background on your pieces? Is it more of an overall vibe, or do you have like names for the people in it and all the rest of it?
Well, there's a particular faction of Lumineth that basically live in the windy sort of region, and I tried paint. If you go back, this is how long I've planned this piece for. There's a small Lumineth I did, the River Runner guys. I don't know what they're called, but it's this diorama on a smaller scale, and you'll notice the leaf color is different. It's very yellow, and I experimented with that, and I experimented with that color scheme. So from a fluff point of view, having the windy guys would have been more fluffy, painted in that color scheme. I can't remember what they're called. But I didn't like the color scheme, so I went for the normal Lumineth one. So I would have liked to have done that. Are they called Huron or something? They're green anyway.
I know the ones you're on about.
Yeah, they're green, and they basically live in this really windy realm. So I'd have liked to have done that from a fluff point of view, but I just didn't like the color scheme. So I go into the lore enough so I don't get in trouble, but I'm just not that bothered. I'm very visual. I just look at artworks and music. Like, yeah, I'm not that bothered about much else really. So it's kind of like I want it to look like this, and I'll make sure I don't get in trouble. So yeah, that's it really. I don't enjoy the Warhammer lore. I do to a point, but yeah, I'm just like the look of it. That's it, really.
No, absolutely, and that's why it's useful to have people. Many times over the years we've chatted, haven't we? Where it's been like, is this okay? Is that a thing? What happens if it's that color? And I think that's why maybe people don't speak about it very often. But I feel, knowing yourself and knowing other painters that have regularly achieved awards, there's a wider support network around those painters often, whether that's their peers that they trust the sort of opinions and feedback from but also there's you need hype men, you need your you need the slightly more calmer friends. But yeah, I think an awful lot of pieces you see, there's been a good group of people around that helping that artist to sort of fulfill
Oh,
that potential.
I'll read the paragraph about like what's in that little cup, of the whatever the lady's called,
Mhm.
Calanthar, something like that. So I'm like, what are these stones she's got in there? Why are they this color? And they're basically like a bit of sniffing salts for the Lumineth, aren't they? Give that a whiff, lad. So I'll do that to make sure it all ties together and things, but not at the sacrifice of the look and stuff like that.
Absolutely. How have you found transitioning, focusing on the high end sort of paint stuff while still working on normal toy soldiers? You
Uh,
did, because you did a couple of Heresy Marines near the beginning of this project, didn't you? Was that
yeah,
around
I
then?
think to be honest,
Yeah.
I messed up and wasted my time because I really want the gaming army and I want to play games, but I do not. So and then
Mm.
then I suffer on what I really love. So I feel like I have to specialize. And without getting too deep, I feel like I've only got I don't know what will happen, but I've only got the energy to paint amazing stuff for a few more years, and
It's
then I'll do some
yeah,
gaming 10 years time.
it's not too deep, mate. And this is the conversation I have with my group of friends. I'm that little bit older than you, but, different circumstances, and this is a conversation I have almost daily with people. That sort of realization of what is it I really want to work on. I haven't got, whether that's I haven't got the time now, whether in 5 years' time my eyes won't be as good, whether there's whatever. I don't think it's something we speak about often enough, and I know you've spoken to me definitely for at least a year now of this idea of do you just sack off that gaming side of things and put your full focus into
100%.
X pieces a year for, as you say, a few years, 3 years, 5 years, or whatever. And I suppose that, but there's also with that that doesn't mean solely working on one piece for a year. It just means, as you say, not getting distracted by trying to do 100 minis for an army. There's nothing. I'm excited about this idea you've spoken of doing character pieces from things like GW or models, other ranges that you enjoy, but doing them to a lower level than giving it your all, but with no intentions of them being anything more than what they are. I think that would be exciting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I love Sons of Horus. I love vehicles, but I should
Mm.
just paint. I love doing the Saturnine Iron Warrior. That's the sort of
Mm.
thing I should
Yeah,
do.
I think I would love to see that. I think
But
that
doing
would.
the Sons of
Well,
Horus army, waste of time's a bit harsh, but I regret doing it. Whereas I don't regret doing any of the display models I've done.
yeah.
And I just think long term, like maybe when I move house, I have a space to have a table and build a table.
Hmm.
And yeah, but I think that at the moment, I just want to do the best pieces I can, and I don't know how much energy I can keep on that for how many years to come. And yeah, just do that, and then maybe 10 years time, I just do some gaming army stuff. So yeah, but I do think like I've messed up my year sometimes, and rushed this piece relatively because I wasted time doing 6 weeks of gaming stuff that I don't play
Hmm.
games with.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think I need to just specialize really. But we were talking about Warhammer Quest Dark Water, and
Yeah.
I'd like to paint a couple of characters from that because I think that'd be brilliant videos. Test out mini color paints, show off some ones on that, and yeah, just chill out on those true metallics, all that stuff. But yeah, I think I've got to not do any gaming stuff for 2026. Is that next year?
Yeah. Yeah. Think about next week, mate. Yeah, Lord of Things. I agree. Andy Zortak's one of my favourites. That I think the Eldar project's a good example of
Oh yeah, I
of
forgot.
that sort of producing. Well, no, but it's like you're saying. It's that it's especially because you've in the past done a lump of army stuff for it, troops and things like that. You can now just go right. I'm going to pay a Phoenix Lord and the corresponding aspect.
Yeah, I'd like to do
That's
some
great.
swooping
That's
hawks.
that's perfect, right? Like
Yeah.
there's your middle ground. There's your everyone will love watching it. You'll love doing it, and it's not a waste. Um,
Yeah, I
I,
loved
I
doing the striking scorpions, actually, that's true. So
Great.
I'd like to do new fire dragons. That'd be a good way to
Do
show off
something.
the
Do
oranges.
that. Go on. Do it for a Christmas video. I was just to take us off on a tiny tangent because why not? Because it was a conversation I had literally yesterday with my buddy Dan. Was this? We were talking about getting X amount of way through a project and then realizing it's the wrong thing to do. And I sort of said to him, one of the difficulties I find with army painting or with armies is that to get to that point in the project with an army, you have to have painted a bunch of stuff. It's not as simple as, I've built this Necromunda gang and I'm 2 models into it and I go, do you know what, it's not for me. When I've painted 30 state troops, a steam tank, this, that, and the other, and you go, oh, do you know what, this wasn't right. That's a huge investment, isn't it, of time, and I'm sure you've had that with display pieces as well. Tens and tens, if not hundreds of hours into something, and you go, bugger, like,
Well, that's the stage I'm doing now, is I'm starting to convert stuff, and some of the conversions won't work out, or they'll be, out of my skill range or something like that. So I'm at the moment messing around with a ton of models, like 5 or 6, and I'll have to see which one works. And with the Sons of Horus, I don't regret doing Sons of Horus at all. Like, they're my favorite legion. I love the paint scheme I did. I just don't need to do them, which
mm,
is annoying, but I will never play Heresy again. And that's not being negative, I just won't.
mm,
So, but maybe I'll play a skirmish game one day, but I just don't know.
mm.
But the last few games, again, I'm not being negative. I've just something's changed for me where when I play a game, I don't enjoy it anymore, and I used to love gaming,
Oh, you get it, right? I
and it
totally
will
get
come
it.
back.
Yeah, yeah. We had that gaming weekend at the weekend with my group, and we all put a combined total of, I don't know, I should have had some photos actually, I'll talk about it in the next body, but a combined total of more than 20,000 points worth of Empire on the board. And I did not need to play that game to get any more enjoyment out of it.
Nah,
Seeing that spectacle, painting the board, painting some models to go on it, that was enough.
yeah.
The gaming wouldn't have given me any more, and it's that ever ongoing question, is it, what's motivating. And I love that about this hobby to a degree, that nothing's easy. If you want something from it, there is no shortcut, right? Well, I say the painting side of the hobby specifically I'm talking about here. Like, if I want a gang to play with Necromunda, well, I could better go paint it. There's no, it's I think it's great. I think it feels like you really, you earn what you've enjoying, kind of thing. Right, well, so look, choose what to paint, blah blah blah, times, I think we've answered that. Composition, cover that in the Patreon video. I suppose time is one briefly to talk about. So there's a few questions to do with the preparation for the project. So sourcing the parts, how long to come up with an idea, how long to realize the idea before the paint hits the model.
4 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's I don't know if I put that shot in of the Selenar. Did I give?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember making a slide of it anyway.
Well, this diorama was a small diorama within a big one, and I eventually realized it would be too big a project, and I extracted this small thing out, and it changed. So originally the girl was on the floor, and the guy was like just holding his sword in the air, and I thought that's a bit cheesy. And then I thought, well, it'd be better if he was holding it. Um, so I've wanted to do this Lumineth, and you can see when I was testing, because it must have been a couple years ago when I painted that green one. So
No, I haven't got the Selena.
yeah, it's fine.
Let's have a look.
But I might still do Selenar, but I would like to convert Teclis to be stood on foot or something, so I can use all that. Um, yeah, I'd love to do that, but that's an enormous project. That's like a 2-year one.
Mm.
This one I
Right.
lost my mind on, and it's absolutely tiny. So um, I think Glutos is my favorite example, because I built it and then left it on my desk for a whole year. So I like to mess around with ideas, and then when the time is right, finish it. So I've got a I've got an avatar of Kane that I've fully reposed. It's just sat in a drawer behind me that I could finish anytime,
Yeah.
and it's really cool as well. I've got a
Mm.
Void Dragon which I've reposed, which I also really like. So yeah, sometimes I'll just mess about with these ideas and don't finish them, but you have to just mess around. So I've got an Alarial, an absolutely mental Alarial, um, which I would consider doing, but I probably won't. But it's got like the beetle rearing up. She's flying. It's probably about double the height of the original one, but they're just a bit too big, these projects. I like the smaller ones, I think. Get a bit lost in the big minis.
Mm. Mm. I mean, Oni Warden making a good point. And again, this wasn't the main subject to this thing, but it's not wasted time if you don't finish it. You know, it's exploring stuff and that. And there's there's truth in that. But I think there's also truth in sometimes it was wasted time. And I think it's important to recognize when you have just wasted time and actually it was a bad decision to go and do what you did and try not to repeat that in
I'm
the future.
trying to be really careful of like doing conversions. Like, do you really think this is possible? Can you push this through? And but I'm pretty sure with what I want to do at the moment, and just got to keep going and resolve it really. So
Absolutely. Right, let's have a look. Sculpting. Yeah, sculpting's finished. Thank you, Neil. Won't be reading that one out. What to do if you find flaws on the model only after you've started painting it?
Cut it off. Next question.
Well, so you had the issue with the cloak, didn't you?
Yeah, so if it's really bad, you have to strip it. If it's a small part, then you can sand it. And you can sand paint if you're very, very careful. Get a tiny bit, polish it, and you have to do some work, or you have to sculpt putty over something painted. I've done all those things before, so it depends on the severity, but you can cover some up. So when I did the cloak on my high elf, I had to glue it on, and I had to sculpt putty, do a little bit of sanding, and I damaged a bit of paint. You just got to repair it really, but it comes with a lot of confidence that you just need a bit of experience, I guess. And it's a bit gnarly sanding the finished models and stuff like that. But normally I'll spray something with primer, do the black and white, and then really check it over after that step. Because if you found an absolute rotter, if it's a mold line, you can just take it off, no problem. You don't even need to reprime it. But if you really cock up, then sometimes you do have to strip it. So it's quite painful sometimes.
Jack's asked top 3 entries that didn't place. I think what he's saying, if you go back and look at the previous episode, Jack's, we picked a few of our favourites we felt that didn't place.
Stand Borja done.
A few people are asking about either getting into Demon for the first time or painting competition for the first time, or trying to push through from that, getting a pin to getting themselves up to like a finalist position. Like, have you got any tips for that side of it?
I think you have to. Sometimes it's really hard to get feedback because people show me their models and they're fine, but they don't have. And wow factor is the wrong word, because you don't need gimmicks, you don't need flashing lights and this and that. But I think you have to have your piece has to have an identity, right? It has to be, and it can be just a model straight out the box as well. It doesn't have to be converted, but what's cool about it? And people show me models like the Lord of Plagues, and I'm like, well, it's the worst model ever. I've seen 500 of these. Like, just pick any model that isn't a Lord of Plagues is a good start. But yeah, the model choice, the colors, you have to stand out, unfortunately, these days. And like I said, it's trying to get the wording right, that it's not a gimmick, but you need your piece to do something, I think. I think that's it. Ultimately, you just got to paint the figure you like, but make it as cool as you can with the basing you put it in, the way it's painted, something like that. Unique takes as well, ideas, all this kind of stuff, really. But think about choose your model, choose your category, and go, well, how can I excel in this category? You know, for diorama, for me, it was like condensing the idea in a small space. Don't waste any space, because dioramas can tend to have this dead space, like a big base that's just plain sand, and you can't
Mm.
make it look good. Um, I think I've answered everything. I think that's everything I want to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A few questions to do with composition.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think you sort of talked about that with the mosaic. I think in that condensing comment. And someone's asked about sculpting. Andy often covers the bits of sculpting he does for these, but we've also got on our Patreon probably about 8 or 10, I think, dedicated sculpting videos. We had a sculptor do for us as well. So, and we can look at doing that in future. If you really want to look at getting better at sculpting, like go and follow a account called Val Bjorn, support their Patreon, because they are, well, really good and really nice. So I think it's probably, can't recommend any more than that. So, is there anything you wanted to talk about it now? Now it's sort of, I know it's not quite finished because you've still got a few videos about it that will be going up on Patreon. But is there anything, now you've had a week to sort of breathe after it's been, any sort of stuff that struck you from it all?
Don't think so. No, just I'm glad people enjoy them, and I just wanted to do something different, really. I guess from what other people are doing, and I'm glad people responded well to that. I don't think my next one will be like this though. So I do have a piece hammer diorama planned, but I don't think I can do it in time for Adepticon. So I think that I might do. I think I'm going to do single AOS, and or it depends. It might be in large AOS. We don't know, but yeah, I think I'm going to do just a model. But yeah, I do have a diorama planned, which is the same, but it's going to be the most painting and the hardest conversion one out of them all. Um, yeah, it's bigger than the horse and stuff. So yeah, I just think I should save it for a year's time. Um,
You're going to be doing anything for Monty coming up in a
no,
few weeks? No.
no.
But you will be out there. So if anyone's
I'm
going to Monty, go say hello.
for next. I'm going to do a vampire for 2026. So
Lovely.
yes, I didn't want to rush. I wanted to do both pieces, but with everything that went wrong with this, and I just didn't want to rush. So
Sounds good. Sounds good.
yep.
Well, guys, let us know if you'd like more of this kind of interview and who you'd like us to do this sort of interview with. We will be getting Raf on, who was meant to be our first ever interview way back after Adepticon, but now we've actually got things working. The man who has changed Golden Demon this year, probably more than anyone else, and painted some epic minis. So do let us know that, whether that's in the comments or jump over onto Twitch and ask us here as well. We've mentioned Mini Color a few times, so you can go and check that out. There'll be a link in the description to the campaign. It's going really well. We're incredibly happy. Thank you very much for all of your support. And keep an eye on the various channels and socials, because you'll be getting a load of that for the remainder of the campaign. And then our cat's just fallen off the fence. Sorry. Absolutely stacked it then, didn't you? Hey?
I always see them out there.
Absolutely binned it. Right. They're trying to style it out now. Get in touch. If you've enjoyed this stream, make sure you bang subscribe and thumbs up and all the rest of it. Culture Paint's on its own YouTube channel now, as I say, to keep the tutorials in their own place and then to keep everything else in one place. So anything you can do to shout about it would be appreciated, because we've loved doing these for 4 or 5 years or whatever they are now, and it's nice to be back in the groove with them. And want to keep on doing it. So check out Patreon, check out Twitch, check out Discord. There's loads of stuff in the description. Click on them. Most of them won't cost you anything, and it's a big support for all of us. Anything else you wanted to say? But
I think that's it.
Nice one. Well, MPO opens tomorrow. Submissions 1st to the 30th of November. We'll be running it. It's free online competition, kind of a traditional categories with the guest category of Orcvember, but it is an open style competition. So there'll be a link to miniaturepaintingopen.co.uk where you can go on and see all the rules and all the way the competition works. But it's very much about celebrating global community. What have you painted this year that you're super proud of? enter it in, share it with people, enjoy it, chat about it, and we'll do a load of streams about the competition, but we'll also do a little award stream and all the rest of it as well. So that will be sort of our focus for November. What are you painting very next?
Me?
What's the brush? What literally today? So I'm going to leave, and I'm going to be weathering up a couple of tank panels, showing off mini color, sort of how I would paint with.
No painting today. I'm going to be editing a video
of red marines, right? I think the photo popped up yesterday, didn't it? I think Byron maybe posted it on socials a little.
Yeah, I've got some. I'll try and do some more stuff with mini color. I think got some embargo stuff that I'll probably paint next. So I need to work it out with dates and make sure I get some content out, to be honest. But I would like to tinker with my putty.
Well, there we are. May you all enjoy tinkering with your putty this weekend. And if you get anything good, make sure you tell us and tag us in socials. Thanks, guys. Take care, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.